Section 1.2, Objective 6, Convert between fractions and decimals. Part 1, Convert a decimal to a fraction. All right, convert a decimal to a fraction. To convert a decimal to a fraction, identify the place value of the last digit in the decimal. Write the decimal as a fraction. Using the place value of the last digit as the denominator, and write in lowest terms. So in order to do this, we're going to have to know our place values. We covered this in the very last section for rounding decimals, or in the very last, I should say, objective 5, round decimals. So I just copied and pasted my little chart here. So it's important to know if you have a number, if the last digit of your decimal ends up being in the tenths place, then what you're going to have here is you're going to have a 10 in the denominator. If your last digit in the decimal ends in the hundredths, then you're going to have 100 in the denominator. If your last digit ends in the thousandths, then you're going to have 1,000 in the denominator. If the last digit ends in the 10,000ths, then you're going to have 10,000 in the denominator. If the last digit ends in the 100,000ths, then you're going to have 100,000 in the denominator. And if your last digit ends in the millionths, you're going to have 1 million in the denominator, and so on. It's important to know, I think, here with powers of 10, because take note here, all of these denominators, oops. All of these denominators do represent powers of 10 because our number system is base 10. That when you are reducing, it's helpful to know those prime factorizations of powers of 10. Ten to the first, that's 10, and the prime factorization is 2 times 5. 10 to the second, that's 100, and the prime factorization is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. 10 to the third, that's 1,000, and the prime factorization is 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5. So notice here, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 3 factors of 2, 3 factors of 5. So that's always going to happen. If you count up the number of zeros in your power of 10, that's going to tell you how many factors of 2 and how many factors of 5 you're going to have in that prime factorization. And that's very helpful when it comes to reducing your fractions. All right, let's do an example here. We're going to convert each decimal to a fraction and write in lowest terms. For the first one, I notice that the 4 is in the tenths place value. Since it's in the tenths place value, then I'm going to take that number 4, I'm going to write the 4 in the numerator, and I'm going to write a 10 in the denominator. Now I'm going to need to reduce this. 4 is the same as 2 times 2. 10 is the same as 2 times 5. So I can divide out the 2's or cancel out the 2's. And that's going to give me 2/5. For the next one, I find the very last place value, it's the 1, and then I identify that place value here. 1, I'm sorry, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the very last place value here is the thousandths. So we are going to write this as 531 over 1,000. Now you need to reduce this, right? If you can. I can tell just by looking at it that I can't reduce it. And some of you are probably wondering, well, how can you tell that? Prime factorization of 1,000, as we just stated earlier, is this. The only way we could reduce this is if 531 is divisible by 2 or by 5. It's helpful to know divisibility tests. I know it's not divisible by 2. How come I know it's not divisible by 2? Because 531 is not even. I know it's not divisible by 5. How come I know it's not divisible by 5? Because it does not end in 5 or 0. Therefore, 531 has no common factors other than 1 with 1,000. This is already in lowest terms. And we're done.